Okay, let's try this again. I am struggling today to get these lives going. I'm actually just gonna sneak over to the side a little bit and make sure this is working. I don't think it is. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Oh my god, it's driving me nuts. Hang on, hang on. Is it working? Am I live? Am I starting? Am I going? Check, 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 check. I mean, if I am, I'm gonna have to edit this all out. Oh, delete this guy. I'm gonna struggle. Let's delete that. Alright, alright. Hey, am I live? I might be live. It's working. Alright, thanks for hanging out there with me. Man, I've been struggling to get this stuff working today, and finally got it going. So anyway, I've got a Sovcit for you today. I got a 5-gallon bucket cowboy hat. I've got a Camaro that's going to land on a tow truck. I've got some kids that are overdue for nap time. I want to go to the pool. It is a nice, beautiful Sunday in Colorado. Anyway, let's get this party started. And
You
go.
have to understand you're not special.
You're not special.
Apparently got pulled over. I'm assuming no license plates, no registration. Maybe potentially speeding. 42 and a 40.
And you would be correct. That is why you got pulled over. Oh, by the way, I'm pretty new to this, so if I can see my chat, but I can't type in my chat. So if anybody could hop in and figure out how to show me how to do that, that would be awesome. Hopefully, I'm not overlapping any of the people that I follow, but it's Sunday. You really never know who's going to jump on the schedule. Let's make me smaller. Let's make the video bigger. Boom. I got some of this figured out. Actually, this has made me disappear altogether.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Officer Martinez on a police department.
Nice
Hey
to meet
man, we've stopped you before, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Hey, obviously you know the reason for the stop, man. I saw
What is?
that
Oh,
you
the
removed
plates.
your license plate.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Do you have your driver's license with you?
What's the reason?
You know the reason.
Right.
The reason, or the reasons you just stated the second you got pulled over.
Right, but so you're saying that I don't have the license plate, so you need to identify me?
Yes, it's a traffic infraction. I mean, we had a really long discussion, like an hour and a half.
Yeah, for sure.
What, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
No, I for sure. It's all on video. I remember it. So I can
It's really hard to comprehend information when your diet consists of snorting Elmer's glue and eating Crayola crayons.
provide my driver's license since I'm basically being. You're asking me to provide it for you, right?
Yeah, I'm asking.
So, respectfully, you already know my name, so
I
can.
don't. I just remember you said it was like Blackfoot because you're Native American.
Right, that's the license plate. I mean, that's the name that I would prefer to go by, but the state knows me by this name. Here's my driver's license. I can provide you the contract because I do have it with me this time. So last time that I encountered you, I wasn't able to provide the contract because I didn't have it on me, but I do have it on me right now.
Can I take a look at it?
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be my briefcase.
You said you bought this car
Did he? Did he just say briefcase? Who carries a briefcase?
from your cousin, right?
Yeah, so it's
So he's on a. If I heard that correctly, he's on the way to go on a date with his cousin.
it's my cousin's wife's vehicle, but he's the one that kind of hooked
Same thing.
me up. Let's see.
Whoa, hold on, dude. Let's see if we can catch that briefcase again. He's got the golden little buckles. I mean, this is like an 1890s briefcase.
So this is what I gave the trooper that, you know, obviously has nothing to do with the
Is this the
contract.
code of ethics?
Yeah, that's the code of ethics. I mean, here's the contract.
Sorry. How you doing? I'm good.
So yeah, and it's kind of a lengthy contract, but there's just a few clauses that kind of outline
Who did this contract?
I did.
Okay.
So it was drafted by me, signed to and agreed by the lady that owned this vehicle.
Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend and act like I understand all of it, man.
Yeah, there's a definition section kind of put in plain language. Yeah. So it's not trying to be like over anybody's head, you know, I'm trying to be fully plain language, like anybody can interpret it. It doesn't.
So, if you're unaware, there actually is a translation considered plain language. It's written at a fifth grade reading level. I imagine that's the extent of his education, or at least his comprehension of his education.
You don't have to be like versed in legal jargon, you know what I mean? So,
gonna be honest, I definitely don't have all the time in the world to read through this.
yeah, for sure.
So he's basically got a 1890s briefcase with a 1980s contract.
But I remember giving you my personal Gerber for you to put on your back license plate, and I'm not 100% sure if you're totally aware, but you're supposed to have license plates on the front and the back of the vehicle. And I think
that was the warning, right? Yeah, that was the warning.
Palacios just said, hey, just put the back one on.
Yeah.
Was there a reason you took it back off? Because I've seen you around.
Right. Yeah, I told him, so whenever he said, like, you know, I told him, yeah, whenever I get home, I'm probably going to take it off, officer, because...
Yeah, but I saw you, like, maybe 2 or 3 times, and I saw the license plate on there, and then I just want to know why you took it back off.
So you're...
It's because he ate his full box of crayons that morning.
Probably talking about the day after I got pulled over or something. Like, I had just left it on there for convenience because I had to go to work. But yeah, I removed it because, you know, I'm trying to make a statement, not necessarily comply with something that I think is against my freedoms. So and like I told him, it's not even registered to me. It's not even valid. So for me, like, it's just doing it for y'all, which I don't really feel compelled.
With the purchase of a vehicle, the state of Texas requires that you register that vehicle within 30 days of purchasing it, and I've noticed that you purchased it April 28th. Right. What day is today?
It's past 30 days, probably like a week past 30 days or something like that. I'm not too sure.
Did you have insurance on it, or did you do the self-insurance bond?
So I haven't done any insurance. I'm still in the process of getting my bond, you know, and I don't have a problem answering that question because
you just answered
I'm ready.
it for me.
Self-insurance bond. So I actually looked this up. The only way you could qualify for a self-insurance bond, I think we're in Texas, right? God, I already forgot what state we're in. I think we're in Texas. So the only way you qualify for to be self-insured um, with an automobile or a car is basically to have a fleet of 26 vehicles or more, which clearly he does not have. Well, yeah, I might be assuming too much, but I think it's a pretty fair assumption he doesn't have 26 vehicles. Um, there is a loophole to this. The loophole is if you, I believe, you can provide the local judge or controller it's basically like a deposit of $55,000. I don't imagine this guy's got an extra 55 grand in cash on him to deposit to his local judge or controller, but it seems like getting a liability coverage policy might benefit him financially, as opposed to this self insurance bond that they both know that he's not going to get.
You
Right.
just said that you don't have insurance.
Right.
All
And
right, and just because you said you're in the process of getting a self-insurance bond, that doesn't mean that you're still able to drive the vehicle. You need to have some sort of liability insurance in the state of Texas.
yeah, I'm aware of your position, but like I said, I'm challenging the constitutionality. If you want to,
No,
if you want to cite me,
totally,
there's
it's. I feel like it's becoming. It's
And the Supreme Court and the district courts in every state over and over, local counties and municipals have upheld over and over and over and over and over again that a state can require you to carry liability insurance. As a matter of fact, every single state does. And again, it's been upheld over and over and over as being constitutional.
coming past that point, man. I feel like a lot of the officers have been pretty understanding. I definitely support what you do,
yeah.
and I definitely support your freedoms and things like that. But you have to understand, you're not special. Everybody else has insurance. Everybody else registers their vehicle with the state of Texas. I understand where you're coming from when you say it's.
Okay, so that's probably the worst argument to make to a sovereign citizen is using the everybody else argument. You want to stick to lawful legal because if you hear everybody else when you're talking to a sovereign citizen, they're basically going to be like, well, not everybody else really understands how the law is supposed to work. And as a matter of fact, everybody else is actually correct in this scenario.
Sort of a tax on the vehicles, and I get that. But you have a driver's license.
Yeah, it is sort of tax. It's going to pay to fill those potholes. It's going to create new roads. It's going to fix weather issues, pick up debris from the streets, clean the streets. I don't imagine they get much snow there, but it'll plow snow. Your taxes are going to cover quite a bit, especially protect your vehicle from excessive damage that could be created by the roads on any given Sunday.
You signed it to a contract. You said you were
Right.
18 when you signed it.
And I'm actually
Your taxes probably also pay for this dude's hat, by the way, which it's a pretty sweet hat. Um, I might have to circle back to that hat.
planning on rescinding that contract with the
So you
court. So
rescind this license, you're gonna make it that much more difficult for yourself, man. Because at that point, we might see you, and if you turn this over, like we've discussed before.
right, I'm not going to turn it over now because you're not competent to rescind the
No, I'm
contract.
competent, man.
Well,
I just think
I mean, not
I'm
you.
not gonna throw names.
I'm saying like
You're not competent. No, I'm competent, man.
support
judges.
everything you do.
Basically, what I'm
I
saying,
do.
I'm not saying you're incompetent. I'm saying like only judges can rescind the contract because it has to be done like formally. Is what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're incompetent. I'm saying
Was this done formally? Because this needs to be notarized.
yeah, it was signed with 2 witnesses present, which
But
is
it
in
was
Texas.
a notary public of the state of Texas. Did they notarize it for you? Because this contract's null and void if there's no notary.
Well, in Texas, it can be 2 witnesses present as well. So
Okay.
it's a notary
I
or
wasn't aware of that.
right. You can. I mean, if you want to correct me, if you want to look it
No,
up.
I'm not going to correct you because I don't have the facts.
Okay.
Okay?
I love what that officer just did. He took a stance. He took a position on argument. He it was basically argued out of his position, and then he just bailed on it, which more people really need to do. I mean, sometimes you just either need to admit you're wrong, or you just need to admit that you don't have enough facts to back your stance. And the best thing to do at that point is just to bail, which it's a good thing he did because he's gonna get stuck in a in circles with this guy if he continues to try to prove a point that he's not really sure about.
I'll obviously research it
right, for sure. I can provide you the phone numbers of those two witnesses if you would like.
I don't want to bother them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to bother them.
He's like, honestly, I don't even really care that much. This is a bill of sale. I'm looking for a registration and insurance.
I just, like, I get what you do. And I support it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Okay?
Do you, though? Do you support it?
Patriot.
Right.
I love this country. Okay? And there are some things that I don't necessarily agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you kind of put yourself out there.
Yeah, I'm asking for citations. I know.
Yeah,
So if you want to kind of get together.
I don't want to do that, man.
So, I mean, I don't like that whole interaction, but he ended it with, I'm asking for citations, which is basically him acknowledging that he knows he's breaking the law, at least relative to code and statute. And statute, yes, by definition, is a law.
Because you've gotten, I don't know, what, 4 citations, 5 citations already?
Right, I've already had 5 citations.
I'm not 100% sure. I know
you want me to name them for you? Because I can put them like on the record. I'm not too worried about it.
5 within 30 days. Well, 30-ish. What do they say? 30 days plus 42 to 44 days.
But I'm just saying, like, the last time, you know, your Officer Palacios, he kind of forced me into sign a contract, which I looked up the refusal to sign, and it didn't even have the 30 days to change your address offense listed as one of the offenses where...
And you could always bring that up to the judge.
Right, and I'm going to, if I even, you know, entertain the citation, because I did, you know, I was forced into it, but... And like I was reading the citation's bold statement, it says that...
He basically says he's not showing up to court. Which, if you truly believe in your position, then that's probably the right move to make. It's not gonna work in your benefit in the long run, but at least you're proving to the rest of us that you believe you believe in those blue crayons that you're eating.
It only creates an offense by not complying with the citation if I made a promise to appear. So
whether you sign it or not, you still have to appear.
I'm sure that's like
it's like a goodwill gesture saying, yeah, I don't
consent.
agree with this citation, but I'm still gonna. I promise the court that I'm gonna appear. That's all it is.
Right. It's a promise, and like I'm not gonna make a promise that I don't feel like I have to make. So, but he ended up making me sign it. So, which is why I put threat.
All right. If the sovereign citizens have one legitimate argument to make relative to what they just talked about was, so often when you get a citation, you're asked to sign it. And in many states, when you don't sign that citation, they'll take you to jail. Essentially, it's a promise to appear in court. You don't sign that promise to appear in court, they'll take you and hold you until you're basically arraigned in court. But the tricky part to that is if you look up state statute or what constitutes as a lawful arrest in most states, you'll see that it says that a traffic citation isn't an arrestable offense. So, by extension, signing that citation or not signing that citation, it can be argued that it's arrest would be unlawful by not signing the citation. That one's tricky just based on legal language, and I'm sure it differs from state to state, but it's the only point that I've seen a sovereign citizen make that kind of makes sense.
Arrest and coercion.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you have any reasonable suspicion that I'm committing any crimes, I'm happy to dispel that. If you have probable, right? Okay.
822. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, if you have any reasonable suspicion that I'm committing any crimes at all, I'm happy to dispel them. If you have any probable cause that I'm committing...
Probable cause is the no license plates,
right,
the no registration, and then the no insurance.
For sure, so...
You're putting yourself in a position, man, to where you're going to get a police officer that's just going to tow the car.
Right. And
you just bought this
right now, like I can
for $8,500. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's not chump change, man.
right, and I'm not trying to risk.
People that have
So it's either a base model Camaro or it's got some miles on it.
$8,500 laying around.
Right, I'm not trying to risk just like losing the vehicle because obviously I value it, but honestly, like.
Do you have the license plates with you?
Right, you want me to put them back on? I can put them on for you.
I don't want to do that in public, man. I don't want to do that. I don't want to create a scene.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not what I want to do.
Well, I just really went to go get water. I'm going back home. I can stay.
So he's willing to put the plates on, but the officer doesn't want to put them on now. What the officer should do is go to his car and pull out a drill, if he's got a drill, and drill a couple holes in the front of the car to make sure he puts the plates on the front and the back of the car.
You know, I'm not promising anything, but I'm not going to be, harassing anybody. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm just doing things out of necessity, going to the store to eat, get groceries, going to get water,
Right.
going to wash my car, going to work. So, I used to walk before I had.
So up to this point, I mean, 5-gallon officer right here is giving him a lot of discretion in this conversation, kind of giving him a lot of flexibility, a lot of warnings. He's saying things like, you're putting yourself at risk to have your car towed, but he really needs to start getting a little more direct with this guy, or they're just going to be having this conversation for 2 hours.
This car, I walked, I biked everywhere, if I need to do that because you guys are basically saying you're going to steal my car. I mean, I know it's not you, it's the state, but you're acting on behalf of the state, and, I don't really believe the state has that authority. If they want to...
But they do.
But they do, and this is where you're going to say, you know what, actually, we're going to tow your car.
At the end of the day, man.
Well, this is a private purchase. Like in most.
And you're on a public roadway.
Right.
At the end of the day, man.
Like I know.
It's just difficult.
I know because you're.
It's not difficult. I hate when they use at the end of the day. But if you're going to use at the end of the day, you just say, at the end of the day, you're breaking the law. We're going to tow your car.
Under this belief, respectfully, everybody, like you're saying, everybody registers, everybody has they have this belief that it's necessary when really it's voluntary. Because if it wasn't voluntary, then it wouldn't be a contract involved. And
right. It would be voluntary. It would be my discretion to tow this car right now.
Right.
Right. It's voluntary for you to register your car and get insurance. But if you don't voluntarily do that, you can't legally drive your car on public roads.
Okay.
Even some.
So, I mean, if you want
to... No, I don't want to do that to you.
Right.
But
I'm gonna.
And I don't even want to cite you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna.
Okay. But I don't know what you want.
And I know I'm called I know I keep saying gutta on grammar school. I'll explain grammar school either at the end of this episode, or at the end of this video, or at a different video.
I'm gonna do, man. I felt like me and Officer Palacio spent a good hour and a half with you.
Yeah.
I remember pulling up all of the transportation codes and reading them off to you because you had questions about it.
You spent an hour and a half with him because you're just having these conversations where you're talking in circles and you're trying to talk sense into a guy that eats crayons for a standard diet.
Well, I just don't understand what you want me to do at this point.
Well, really,
I still don't understand why you willingly went and took off the license plates.
Gotcha. So just to kind of clarify the reason for that, like putting those license plates on. If you read the contract, I actually can reference it. Just there's a specific spot right here.
Yeah.
It says, both parties agree that the automobile will be used freely and exclusively for private, non-commercial purposes and shall not be gauged in commerce or used in an official capacity. Therefore, both parties agree that no governmental privileges are required to travel in this automobile while in such a capacity that is founded upon right, capability, fitness, power, and freedom. in contrast to capacity founded upon privileges, licensure, inspection, and regulation. Right. So this is just the freedom. This is the private use clause.
Right.
And
where's the private use clause found?
What do you mean?
The private use clause. Where did you find that in the Constitution to put this in the contract?
Bro, why did you put that in the contract altogether? I mean, to put anything in the contract that you wrote that excludes, that basically limits what you can utilize your own private property for, um, it's just frankly stupid. I mean, what if this dude wants to go drive some Uber one day?
It's under the Ninth Amendment. So
do you know what the
Ninth Amendment?
Basically, the way he wrote this contract, if it's valid, he took away freedoms from himself.
10th Amendment. So the Ninth Amendment is where they say that just because they're enumerating certain rights doesn't deny or disparage the other rights that are unenumerated of the people. And then the 10th Amendment is actually where the state claims to derive its authority to enforce these regulations.
Which is upheld by the Constitution the Supreme Court over and over and over again. The states have the right to require drivers to register their vehicles, to have insurance, to provide proof of that insurance, and to have a driver's license.
Like what you're enforcing right now, registration, license plates, all that, it's because the state has certain powers under the 10th Amendment.
Correct.
But where the state fails to recognize is that the 10th Amendment doesn't just delegate powers to the states that aren't delegated to the federal government, it reserves it to the people. So the people have equal sovereignty to the states. And I know that I don't want to come off as a sovereign citizen because that's what everybody's saying, but honestly, like, citizens, like...
Because you're a sovereign citizen. If it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. Just because you've been eating some crayon, snorting some glue, and think you're an eagle, no, you're a duck.
People that are under the impression that, like what you said, everybody has to follow the law, you're not special. Like, I'm not saying I'm special. I'm saying that we as people aren't slaves. And that the citizen is a creation of a state. A citizen can't exist without the state's creation of it. And so, therefore, the citizen is a subject to the state, which is under the 14th Amendment, which is why it says a citizen subject. So, I'm not saying that I'm a citizen. That entity on the driver's license is a citizen. It was created by the state. It's a legal name. It's registered in commerce. It's how I engage in commerce. But it's not me. That's something that was created by the state and controlled by the state, obviously.
Did your parents give you this name?
Yes.
So are you calling your parents an entity?
Yeah, you are. You're calling your parents an entity. Your parents gave you the name.
Or are they individuals?
Right. So the name is not the entity. The name is my calling. The government has created an entity from my name, and they use that as the transmitting utility. So my entity, who I am, is Baksikoi Ikiaki. Or people call me Arian Tejas, but both of those names...
Baktikoi Iriaki. You definitely sound Ziriaki.
...don't have to be persons in the law, is what I'm trying to say, which I know we're getting into the weeds here. I'm not trying to bore you. I mean, I'm just trying to explain my perspective so you adequately understand where I'm coming from.
You know, we all have different perspectives and opinions on the law.
Yeah.
We all do.
For sure.
And we don't necessarily all have to agree with them, man.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's pretty black and white here, and please get out of your car so we can tow your vehicle.
You know, like I said, with the Texas Administrative Code, the police ethics, like this, we're just looking at the first one. The primary responsibility of the police service and of the individual officer is the protection of the people of the United States through the upholding of their laws. Chief among these is the Constitution of the United States and its amendments. The law enforcement officer always represents the whole of the community and his legally expressed will, and is never the arm of any political party or clique. And then the second one goes on to explain the first duty of a law enforcement officer as upholder of the law is to know his bounds upon him enforcing it. because he represents the legal will of the community, be it local, state, or federal. He must be aware of the limitations and prosecutions which the people, through law, have placed upon him. Now, I'm not, this is what most officers disregard, their first duty, to recognize their limitations. And all I'm trying to say is, right now, most people don't know the limitations of the government. So, of course, most people aren't going to not register their vehicles. But me, I'm trying to challenge because I'm studying their limitations. So, I've already had lawyers' perspectives. Like, there's a lawyer called Joshua Black or something like that, and he outspokenly he very outspokenly tells people that, hey, the Supreme Court is not the top of the law. They're not the arbiters of the supreme law. They can get things wrong. Just because people are citing Supreme Court cases like, hey, we have
They can get things wrong, but to use a sovereign citizen argument against yourself in Marbury versus Madison, where which was an issue over a judge assignment over a president of the United States, we established that the Supreme Court is the supreme law of the land. But it doesn't mean that because of that, that anything that they've ever said overrides uh, anything that you might do at the state level. But no, I mean you're incorrect there,
the
buddy.
authority to force you into a contract against your will. Like, sorry, just because the Supreme Court says something doesn't mean that that's the supreme law. So I'm fully aware of the state's perspective and how they're defending what they're doing, and how you're just trying to comply with your oath to uphold the law, and you feel obligated to stop me and warn me and cite me. And I understand that. I respect that. But I'm saying, like, how many officers know their limitations of authority, and how many of them are willing to actually exercise them? Just like you're exercising your discretion, you should exercise your duty to know you're bound upon you. And not just you, obviously. I'm talking to all officers in general. But it's like, I'm really just trying to say, hey, officer, you depriving me of my rights is also depriving you of your own rights, because I'm just exercising rights that we should all have. So
So up to this point, they haven't identified any rights that he's being deprived of. He, they both acknowledge that he disagrees with the requirement to register his vehicle and to have insurance. But there is no depriving of rights, and he hasn't even mentioned any rights that he's being deprived of up to this point. He also mentions, he also acknowledges that compared to state law, that this might be unlawful and that he's challenging it, but he doesn't say that this is depriving him of rights at any point.
you're not just taking
Or at least he's not specifying which rights he's being deprived of.
these rights away from me, you're taking them away from your loved ones, yourself, your neighbors, all these people that you're seeing right here in HEB. You're saying that, hey, just because you're not getting into a contract with the state, the same thing can happen to you. You can be put under duress to be your property taken from you. You put in a jail, under deadly threat. Like, all this stuff can happen to anybody here if they just decided not to enter into a contract with the state. So really, like, I'm not worried. If you really want to cite me, I can battle that with the court, because I know you're just working off probable cause, you're working off reasonable suspicion. Like Palacio said, you guys have an obligation to, do your job, but I also have an obligation as one of the people to make sure that you're not overstepping your authority. So
All right.
So I mean, the people do have power under the 10th Amendment, but it's not at the personal level, right? It's not. It doesn't make everybody their own independent government. The power of the people is through delegation, through the judicial or through the legislative process, right? You have certain powers to influence that through the First Amendment, with the power of petition, through um, protest, through the representation from your local government, your local municipalities, your state senators, your mayors. But every driving car on the road is not its own government.
Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. I'm gonna keep this.
Okay, yeah, you guys can keep that, and I'll probably end up handing them to everybody I encounter. So, and I'm gonna actually buy little Constitution books, and I'll be handing those out too. So, that'll be fun.
Yeah, just highlight the 10th Amendment. You might as well include a little pamphlet in there with Texas state traffic laws.
That.
Yes, just like that. That's awesome, man.
All right. Hold on.
All right.
I hope he just comes back and says, yeah, just we're gonna take your car today. Freaking briefcase.
We're at the Hondo HEB. Everybody's wondering what kind of crime I committed. Surprise, it's just no license plates.
It'd be great if some First Amendment auditor shows up with some cameras and they get some backup. It gets a little dramatic. So far, this stop's gone. How far are we in this video? 38 minutes. Oh, sorry. That's 38 minutes. Like 21 minutes. And it's just mostly banter. And wax. Just get, like, from the crayon residue in his mouth.
Looks like it's just Officer Martinez this time. No backup.
Good. He's gonna get some backup soon if they when they call the tow truck. So, I mean, if you think about it, okay, let's say you don't register your car, you don't get insurance, right? You don't believe that there's a crime unless there's an injured party. So let's say we take all of you guys with the same beliefs, we put you in the same, give you your own city, right? We'll give you we'll give you a bunch of different ones. We'll give you one coastal, one mountain, we'll give you a big chunk of Kansas. I'm sure nobody really cares too much about a big section of Kansas, maybe western Oklahoma, northern Texas, right? We'll give you your own spaces. You don't pay anything to register your vehicles. You don't get driver's license. You don't acknowledge traffic laws.
This is what
right?
freedom looks like.
Are you gonna have your kids going and playing outside?
The state chases you, threatens to take your property, threatens to imprison you.
Yeah. When people are drinking and driving, you don't think that the state
Punish you cruel and unusually for not entering into a contract with them where your rights are surrendered.
And the contract thing is such BS, right? I mean, I'll get into that more whenever I decide to finally do the sovereign citizen 101. But the purpose of jurisdiction is important, right? I mean, this is where most wars are fought over. Governments have the right to control the people within certain geographical borders. And some of those governments give rights back to the people, right? Like the United States through the legislation, um, through the legislative process to create these laws to not only to punish the people who have committed crimes, but also to reduce risk. So scenarios don't get worse, right? Pulling a person over for a DUI probably could have prevented somebody from being killed that night versus somebody getting arrested for a DUI after they have already hurt somebody.
And then we have another officer arriving, wants to join the party.
Just give them their own space. Let them drive over potholes all day long.
Which is
drive your Camaro on some dirt roads.
Not the best idea.
All over the place.
Let's see who this is.
I guarantee a lot of your fellows are the cleanest people.
Looks like
Just gonna pick up trash all over the roads, sweep the streets, plow the snow.
26,
Well, you probably don't get snow there. Nobody likes paying taxes. Nobody likes potholes either.
Okay.
So they're in the back. Okay, so pull this guy over. He's been pulled over 5 times. We gave him a bunch of citations. I was really nice to the guy, and I told him that one day his car's gonna get towed. But I was so nice to him, I don't know if I could backtrack that and tow his car now. So I need you to go up there and say, "Hey, get out of the car so we can tow it." Oh, he's coming back.
All right, sir.
Alrighty. What's
Yeah.
the plan?
The plan is
Some citations? You're gonna have to tow the vehicle.
Towing the vehicle. I'm just gonna be pretty cut and dry with you right now. We're towing the vehicle. I gotta issue citations, and then we'll just go from there.
So you're gonna tow the vehicle for what reason?
Because you
Just keep breaking
don't
the
have
law,
registration,
asshole.
you don't have insurance on the vehicle, and you don't have any front, or you don't have a front license plate or a rear license plate.
So if I put on a license
Based off the last
plate,
traffic stop, where you put the front license plate on camera,
the back one.
the back license plate up on camera, and then you purposely taking it off, it doesn't look too good, man.
Well, no, I told the officer I was gonna do that.
I know, but you can't. Okay.
So do you want me to put it back on, or you're already set in your decision? Because you do have discretion.
Unfortunately, I'm already set in my decision.
Already? Well, before you make any decisions, can you call the supervisor here? Because I don't know how long you've been on the job, but can you call the supervisor just so we can talk it out with another officer?
Yeah, I can.
All right, thank you for that.
Give me a second.
Mhm.
So now he's thinking, man, I ate way too many crayons today. I probably should have got that insurance so I could keep driving in my car that I just bought.
Excuse me, officer. Can I get your name and badge number for the record?
Yeah, who cares? Most states, he's gonna have to provide registration and insurance to get that car back out of impound too. So if you're gonna take the stance, you're gonna have to back it up.
Do you have your license plate with you?
Yes, sir. I also have my drill just in case I need to put it back on for you.
Okay.
Did I not mention a drill earlier in the video? I swear to God, I didn't catch that part.
It's in the trunk. It's in the trunk. You want me to open it for you? There might be one inside the vehicle.
Do you remember the license plate number so I don't have to go dig into your car?
It's on the contract that I gave y'all.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Well, what page?
It's the first page. The VIN number's there.
Okay, well, my supervisor's here.
Alrighty.
It doesn't matter anyway.
Hi there, officer. Can I get your name and badge number?
Badge number 824. What's going on?
The last encounter I had with this police officer, he kind of was informed of the situation. I'm challenging the constitutionality of certain statutes that compel me into a contract against my will because I'm studying the law.
I don't want to hear all that story. Maybe for too long. You've been advised before you didn't search the vehicle. The vehicle's not registered, so the vehicle's gonna get towed tonight. It's gonna get towed tonight.
I like this guy a lot more. I mean, he just said everything in less than 30 seconds, what took the other guy 25 minutes to say.
So,
Anything you want to fight, argue, you have to speak with the judge. Okay, sir?
What's
Yep. And you talk to the judge. You're not going to argue it for 25 minutes, and apparently the last one was an hour and a half. This guy's awesome. Less than a minute.
Anything you need to speak with the judge. As of right now, the vehicle's going to get towed. You've been
okay?
advised before, you need insurance on the vehicle, and your vehicle's not registered.
Right, but he told me I could put on the plate, and then I would be.
We're past that point. But that, and you remember
This guy, the guy driving the car, doesn't he remind you of Lumberg? Do you know what Lumberg is? If you don't know what Lumberg is, look at Lumberg. I don't know what it's like to name. I'll just name the movie Office Space. I have no clue about the YouTube copyright stuff, but look at Lumberg and compare it to the way this guy talks.
move them again as I can see, right?
I did remove the back one.
Your vehicle's going to get towed.
Well, they're threatening to tow my vehicle.
No, they're not threatening. They told you they're towing it.
They're threatening to steal my property where I can't get it back
Again, not a threat. They're taking it.
because it has no insurance, it has no registration.
Yep.
I now have probable cause that these two officers are in violation of Title 18, subsection 242, 241, depriving me of my rights. They're going to tow my vehicle because I don't have license plates. After they've already cited me or warned me for the same offense. And I told them I was going to take it off, so.
Yeah, but you're forgetting about the insurance. So, 18 USC 241, also known as I'm just making sure you got the right one. Also known as the Conspiracy Against Rights statute, is a federal law that makes it a crime for two or more people to conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in the United States in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to them by the Constitution or laws of the United States. This includes conspiring to interfere with the right to vote, the right to U.S. public accommodations, and other fundamental rights. It covers rights secured by the Constitution or federal laws, not just protected against state action intent. The conspirators must intend to interfere with the victim's rights. Punishment penalty. So, are they in violation? No, because you violated the law by not having the insurance, and it's not just about the plates. If you had the insurance and told them you're gonna put the plates back on, you're probably not getting the car towed. Therefore, no violation against Title 18. Go get insurance, dude. Well, now you gotta get both if you want to get your car out of impound. But if you don't get out of impound, but I've always kind of liked Camaros. They're a little big for me. Like they got a big old blind spot back here. I think if I got a baseline sports cars, to me, a baseline sports car would be like a Mustang Challenger or a Camaro. I'd probably take the Mustang, but I mean, police auction, I might end up with Camaro.
And now we have Officer Martinez, unfortunately, being strong-armed into this illegal conduct by his sergeant. Because obviously he wanted to.
Alright, if you truly believe that is true, if you believe that Officer Martinez is being strong-armed, that takes away the whole conspiracy thing under the Title 18 that you just mentioned. So even if you were correct, which you still aren't, it takes more than one person.
Being strong-armed into this illegal conduct by his sergeant. Because obviously he wanted to steer away from any unnecessary deprivations of right. But his sergeant is so willing. He does not care at all about my rights, about the law, about me having a vehicle to get to and from my necessities. They want to take this vehicle from me. Brand new.
Hondo. I gotta look up Hondo. At first, I thought that was the SWAT commander or SWAT chief's SWAT team commander's name, Hondo. But I think this is the name of the city.
Car. New to me. Well, can't be surprised. Better get my stuff that they're gonna be taking from me in this ridiculous situation. Got my money. My water that I need to survive. Water my plants. They don't care about my plants. They don't care about my little doggy. They don't care about my rights, my property.
And you don't care about anybody else because as soon as you injure somebody in that car, they're going to go through a lot of pain and suffering because your insurance is not going to cover their injuries, their accident, their property damage.
The Fourth Amendment. They don't care about the Fifth Amendment. They don't care about the First Amendment, the Constitution. They can claim they do, but their actions speak louder than their words.
Nobody, it's your actions.
I bet you they want to arrest me too. They want to put me in a cage just because I don't listen. Because I'm not complying with their demands, the state's demands.
Well, we haven't got to that point yet, but let's see what happens.
That I enter into their contract and surrender my rights just to use the people's property, the roads.
I bet this guy whined a lot as a kid.
Now, I'm gonna have to deal with the corrupt city of Hondo and the corrupt city of Hondo Municipal Court. And these are just presumptions, of course. They can prove me wrong by showing that they're just and fair and competent. But not from what I've seen so far.
They're doing the whole city a service by taking you and your car off the road today.
Looks like these officers have no respect. They're hiding from the truth. He wasn't even willing to engage in any form of conversation. And he's supposed to be the supervisor?
I get that my voice is pretty flat and boring, but I'm talking to you for that long is going to drive anybody nuts. And you're just going to talk in circles. Yeah, I mean, he's dealt with sovereign citizens before, right? It's black and white. Do you have registration? Do you have insurance? Do you have your driver's license?
All because of a plate with some letters.
Wrong. Again, your insurance. You keep forgetting the insurance, dude. And that's the more important issue.
Apparently that's a crime. I have to put the state's plate with their letters, and I can't put my own plate with my letters because apparently we're not free. We're servants to the state. We have to follow the state's rules. And I have all these witnesses here seeing that these officers are just going to be violating my rights, taking my property. They're both going to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
They will be held accountable.
I knew it too.
We'll have to show up to
I knew it was going to happen. And of course, it happens by Mr. Martinez and his tyrant sergeant. This guy thinks he's the best.
Alright, man, can you step out of the car, please?
For sure, let me...
Yeah, go ahead.
So, let me get this straight. I just got water to water my plants, feed my dog, and you guys are gonna take my water, my vehicle. Actually, I need to turn the vehicle off.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a lot of water. I think they showed at the beginning, but he had like 2 or 3 of those 5-gallon jugs of water. They didn't say they were going to take the water though. He could drink it out of the car. It's a good workout.
Cat in here somewhere.
You could grab it.
Is there a cat in there? Or is he the cat person? Oh, and he's a bison person.
Alright. So you guys are gonna call the tow truck. The tow truck's gonna take it and put it where?
I think the
City of
God
Hondo
Country's-
impound over there?
No, I think God Country's towing is getting a hold of the vehicle.
What does that mean?
They're gonna tow the vehicle.
I know, but like, where are they gonna take it is what I'm saying.
I think they'll be able to get you the address. They can give you a business card. Where do you live?
Down the road.
Take you home, man. It's not fun for me.
Your sergeant didn't seem very competent. So,
He's the definition of competent and efficient and direct and frank. He's wonderful.
I understand you're kind of like under his will, but that guy was not, he shouldn't be in his position. I don't care who he thinks he is or how long he's been there, but he had no willingness to speak any words to me. He said, hey, you're going to speak to the judge, obviously because he knows he's not competent to speak with me, but it's just ridiculous. I'm going to stay here and watch the tow truck take the car because I need to make sure they're not damaging my property.
Okay.
And
do you want me to take you home?
Martinez, dude, did you just offer to take him home? What are you doing, man? My God.
This really sucks because I need that water.
Good.
And
We could put the water in the back of my car, dude. We could.
Take the freaking water.
okay, if we could do that, I would really appreciate that.
I'll let you know.
But no, I mean,
If you got the 55 grand to put up a personal insurance bond or whatever we titled at the beginning of the video, you should be able to get an Uber.
you know,
Well, look, man.
I'm gonna close the trunk.
Yeah, go ahead. Are we gonna? I'm going to issue the citations. Okay. I gotta pull it up real quick.
It's a win for the state. It's got to know it's a loss to turn the police. Department of Taxes Service.
The failure to display the license plate, the failure to maintain financial responsibility, or i.e. the insurance, and then this, I know it states expired registration, but technically it is, because it expired January of 2024. So that's going to be a warning, okay?
So I'm getting cited again for the responsibility.
Yes.
It doesn't fall under double jeopardy because it's the same offense.
It's not double.
No, you can get cited every day. Shit, you probably get even cited more than once a day. They would probably throw that out if you got cited more than one time in a day. But no, so you go to court and you get a conviction, it's not double jeopardy. And in fact, even if you did go to court, you got a conviction on a traffic offense that you got yesterday. Today's a whole new violation.
It's not double jeopardy, and this is just a separate incident.
Separate incident, separate offense. Same offense, separate incident.
Same offense, separate incident.
Okay.
Different time, different day.
So,
different person, as in me.
the same alleged harm victim, which is the state, which can't be harmed, honestly, but yeah, so I already looked up the refusal to sign statute. Those citations aren't under the refusal to sign statute, so if you want to double check, we can double check, but I'm not going to sign anything. If you want me to sign something,
All right, you don't sign it. Please don't sign it. Please. Good luck it. If you don't sign it, good luck getting your car out. But please don't sign it.
your Officer Palacios, he told me I was going to go to jail if I didn't. You could tell me the same thing. I'll sign it under threat, duress, and coercion. But
Yeah, that would happen, man.
yeah, I mean, if you
don't sign the citation, which is a promise to appear, not an admission of guilt, because this is just probable cause. Okay, I would have to take you to the magistrate.
right now,
Yes, and that would be Monday, but you would be taken to the Medina County Jail.
and forced to stay overnight and all that.
Yes. And you said you have blanks, you have water. I was said I could take you home.
Yeah. So,
I know you won't.
You guys are driving that's kind of fast for me a little bit. So, and I have noticed a lot of states have started abandoning the requirement to sign a citation, and I'm sure there's a bunch of reasons for that, and this is probably one of them. Look at his briefcase. I'm kind of regretting the fast forward in the last part of the conversation with the cop, but Martinez and Crayon Muncher just seem to talk in circles.
I mean, I'm gonna get the documents for the car just so y'all don't steal those.
He's filling his briefcase. Look at that. He's a tall guy.
This is what it looks like before it gets towed.
You want to grab your stuff and put it in the car before it
Sure, yeah.
Got his magic stick.
Unless you give them the money.
Sign their contract to get it back.
I mean, you're not going to sign it.
I'm nothing to do with the city.
At that point, it's they are bound by the law to not release vehicles to people that aren't registered to it, and they can't release. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm more than sure they're not going to allow the release of the Camaro without insurance and without a registration sticker updated.
Yep. So you had fun with that stance, didn't you?
Right, so
Doing his job.
I know, man. I'm just letting him know.
Go do your thing, man.
They're
Can I have you move? I'm gonna park up here, so I'm not blocking here. I'm gonna reverse it back and I'm gonna drive it up there.
So you want me to move out of the way?
Yeah. I'm gonna move.
It's not going in? Let me see. All right. Oh, it's probably because you're using the wrong key.
I'm sorry, because you've been like that.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Alright, I'm just being this one. Just going on the
All right, bro. So there's gonna be a screwdriver on the bottom of the floor somewhere. It's gonna be somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah. So then there's gonna be a hole. There's a big hole and there's a smaller hole behind it. You're gonna put it in the smaller hole. Yeah. There's a big hole. It's gonna be on the right side. That one right there where your thumb's in. So it's the smaller hole behind the big hole.
What are you doing?
You gotta like shake that. Got it. Cool. So am I gonna get my key back or what's the deal with that? Yeah. Sure. So it's gonna like mess with the tire or something. Like what's the deal with that? Like getting it off without the keys and like a slide on it. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, as long as I know that it's secure. Okay.
Alright, well, I mean, there you pretty much have it. There goes his car. He's gonna have to get registration. He's gonna have to get insurance to get it back out.
So the reason why
He's gonna have to fight in the court. He's factually guilty, right? I mean, sure, he's gonna argue jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction, the deprivation of his rights, the whole Title 18 thing, and he'll be wrong on all of the above. Hopefully, Officer Martinez does not testify at this court because I think he's just a little too lenient, a little too flexible. I mean, if he's going to uphold the Constitution and the laws of Hondo, then it might be kind of an awkward testimony. But anyway, there goes another one. I'll see if I can track this one down. I don't know if I've seen any court cases in Hondo, but I put the link to this guy's channel in the description. I'll keep an eye on it and see if anything pops up. I'm not sure if it's the original owner's um,
So you want to pat me down?
channel, but I'll keep an eye on it and see if we find out any more information. But I got a feeling this guy's not going to get his Camaro back for a while. Oh, yeah, no. All right, let me make a quick tweak here. Tweak. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me, guys, today. Again, I'm getting better at this. I'll work on the enunciation and inflection of my tone and voice, and I'll just keep sending content until you guys start hanging out with me. Because although I had, I think, 0 people show up today, eventually I'll get a couple of you guys in, and um, always happy to hear any feedback. Always appreciate any support. I do have a link to my PayPal on the description as well. So, I definitely would love to boost the equipment. And right now, I'm pretty much using the free versions of everything. So, it'd probably benefit me to upgrade those a little bit. But got 2 kids, I'm broke. So, anyway, love you guys. Happy Sunday.